Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jasmine McDonald and I post ballet and fitness related videos every single week. It's been a while since I've just sat down, done kind of a chit chat, get ready with me, but lately I've been having a lot of conversations with professionals in the industry, a lot of conversations with other dance teachers, students, other like-minded creators on the internet, and I just wanted to do a little get ready with me, sit down and chit chat about kind of what I've been talking about with them, with you guys, because there's some important topics that have been circulating in the dance world. First things first, let's prep the skin. I clearly just hopped out of the shower. This is a very impromptu and not produced video because I just want to post more authentically with you guys, where I just kind of like sit down, show you my daily life, or I do little get ready with me's because I know a lot of you guys come here for workout videos and some of you guys come here for vlogs, but I kind of want to mesh the two and still obviously cater to people who come here for vlogs, but obviously still cater to people who come here for workouts. But I figure the middle ground, if you're coming here for ballet inspired workouts, if you like ballet and you're doing it for your training, I don't know, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, let me know in the comments. But if you're doing it for your training, you probably have an interest in talking about these topics too. So I figured I'll chit chat with you guys because you guys are also my friends, like the people I've been talking to in my daily life. So without further ado, let's chit chat firstly about the discourse that's been going on TikTok surrounding, I think I already talked about this, recording in class. What's my take on it? My take on recording in class is that you need to have explicit confirmation from everybody that it's okay to be filming and posting. I also think when it comes to being a dance teacher, I really try not to post my students because A, I don't know who's watching my pages. B, I don't really like to post students, especially whose parents haven't given me confirmation that they're okay with me posting. So I tend not to share it. Also, I've been really trying to keep my work life and my social media pages very separated because even though obviously my work, I'm a dance teacher, so it coincides with my personal account and my pages and my not influencing pages, but you know what I'm trying to say, like my social medias. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh my goodness, words are really hard today. But I try to keep them separate because I really love creating online. I love sitting down, talking to the camera like this with you guys. I love editing videos. I love being inspired by other creators online. And I love just posting daily. And I love dance teaching too, but I like to keep them separate because even though they're both kind of income streams for me, I'm really trying to separate the two, and that's just a personal take. I feel like it's kind of similar to how a lot of people don't post their work on their social media, or they don't talk about their work. I don't really like to talk about. I like to talk about teaching in the sense that I like to talk about my experiences teaching and how I'm, furthering my career with my continued professional development and my studies and what's going on in my life, but I don't like to take you on a day of teaching with me necessarily. I also don't like to share too much about my work because I like to keep it separate. But anyways, that's besides the point. What were we talking about in the first place? Oh yeah, filming. So yeah, I don't agree with filming strangers without their consent in the background of videos. On to topic number 2 that I feel like I like chatting with people about, and it has to do with how to actually get better as a dancer, because that's probably one of the number one questions I get from dancers online, but also the number one thing that people want to know about as a dancer. I want to talk more about it. I want to know how to be a better dancer. And I feel like once we open the conversations up more about this kind of thing, the better, because I'm giving you my advice. Hopefully you guys in the comments can also give your advice as to how you're becoming better dancers or you're inspiring your students to become better dancers. But I've been thinking about this a lot lately and talking to close personal friends and colleagues about how dancers actually become better dancers. And it comes down to a few things. First of all, motivation. Where does motivation even start? I actually wrote an essay on this in my schooling last year. I'd be happy to share some of it with you, but that's not what I'm doing here today. Motivation, it comes from a lot of things in my research. It comes from a lot of things, and I think the biggest thing that I've noticed in my own journey as a dancer is that motivation is really cultivated within. It's also cultivated in the environment, in your own personal environment. It is cultivated in the dance studio environment. It is cultivated by the teacher in that environment. So there's a lot of things at play here, but What it really comes down to for motivation in my experience is that you need to find your own inner motivation, and whatever that means for you might be different for everybody. The thing that inspires me the most and keeps me motivated is that I love what I do, and I think having the passion for dance is really, really necessary if it's something that you want to do as a career, because if you don't have the passion, it's going to be really, really challenging to continue, because sometimes it's not all roses. It's not all tutus and tiaras. Sometimes ballet especially is really hard. The industry, I'm not going to lie, can be very, very challenging. We know that. I've talked about that a lot. The industry can be challenging. However, it can be so rewarding and so magical, and dance is for everybody. But professionally, you need to have the mindset and the thick skin to not take in other people's opinions too much and to heart too much, because people are always going to have opinions about you, and they're always going to expect you to fit in some way. I actually talk about this on my TikTok, and if you're not following me, it's JASSSOME. But I was talking about this on TikTok, how the ballet world wants you to fit into a box in a way. And that's just the way that it's set up. I don't agree with it, because I think different dancers with different body types can do different things. But in the ballet world, whether it's because of costume restrictions and requirements, because costumes, for example, in a ballet company aren't custom made each and every cast. You are probably wearing costumes, especially if you're in a classical company like I was, from decades ago. Like, I literally had a costume from, I think it was Alina Kojikaru one time, and I was fangirling, but she's teeny tiny, right? So those costumes that you're re-wearing are old, and ballet companies and theaters don't usually have the budget to be making custom costumes with each and every show. You're usually re-wearing a lot of things, which means that the roles that need to be filled do have a size restriction, in the sense that obviously the seamstresses can let out or bring it in with the costumes. But when it comes to casting, there are clear requirements of certain roles. Small swans, generally smaller, like shorter dancers, which means that these small swans that are being casted also have to be very good at fast footwork, petit allegro. For me, for example, I was always casted in roles like this, but I am not good at petit allegro. I have never been. I will never, well, I shouldn't say never. It's just not my forte. It's not my strength. My strength is more in like adage movements, which generally are reserved for taller girls. Taller dancers usually get roles like Queen of Dryads, you know, da-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da. Big steps and very leggy, and big swans as well. Another tall role. So already in dance, there are going to be these boxes that directors and companies want you to fit in. And unfortunately, that is set up because the costumes require that, the choreography might require that, like the 4 small swans. Again, it's the 4 small swans, they're doing the fast footwork. And also a lot of these kind of roles are built on a long standing history of how these ballets were made. So, like I said, a lot of these dancers were kind of put into these boxes for a reason. Generally, shorter people tend to be better at faster movement because they don't have as much limb, but that's not the case for everybody. Anyways, in saying this, I am trying to tell you guys how to actually be a better dancer. And to actually be a better dancer, you have to research what you want to do. You have to be honest with yourself, what you're good at and what you're not as strong at, because that's actually harder to do than you would think, because nobody ever wants to admit what they're not good at, and nobody ever really wants to face the facts that they need to work on this more. It's hard, it's humbling, but you have to do it if you want to be professional. If you want to be a better dancer in general, you have to look at the facts and notice, I'm lacking in this, how can I make this better, right? So it requires critical thinking skills, it requires being objective as much as you can, and it requires being honest with yourself. So that's step number 1, being honest with yourself. And like I said before, motivation is something that is cultivated in a number of ways. So first things first, you're honest with yourself. You're saying, okay, I am wanting to go to a classical ballet company where they do shows like Swan Lake. Now I am 5'4". I'm using myself as an example, 5'3". I'm fairly short, so the roles that I will likely have to do at some point or another are small swans. But I'm not that good at petit allegro. Now, the next step is being motivated to get better at that thing that you're not good at, because nobody wants to work on the things that they're not good at. You know, like that's not fun. It's not fun to work hard at something that's very challenging, but that's what you have to do. And to do that, you have to be motivated. So when it comes to motivation, for me, speaking from my experience, something that has helped a lot is being honest, like I said before, but also recognizing where I am good, recognizing what I'm good at, recognizing, you know, the things that I am excelling at, and honoring that, because a lot of the time I see dancers say, well, I didn't do this and I didn't do that and I can't do this and I can't do that, so I'm never going to be this. And it just starts to spiral into this negative cycle. And you don't want to be there, because your motivation is going to lack if you're stuck in a negative cycle, whether you're stuck in a negative cycle because of things you can control or things you can't, especially because dancers have a lot of pressure put on themselves to look a certain way and to dance a certain way. Firstly, be kind to yourself. Notice what you are good at. Be honest with yourself in regards to what you're good at. Say, hey, even though I'm not here, I am doing this really, really well. Because the more you frame your mindset positively, the happier you'll be in class and the more motivated you will be to get better, because you're enjoying the process. And even though sometimes dance can be very hard and technique can be very hard, you're enjoying it because you're recognizing what is fun about it and what you can do and how good it makes you feel. So that's what helps me a lot when it comes to being motivated to continue. I look at the things that I have done really well, even when it comes to my YouTube journey. Sometimes I'll get in a rut about filming, and then I'll just look back at my old things and be like, oh my gosh, remember when I did this? This is the reminder I needed to motivate myself, because I enjoyed doing this. And even though I need to do this on my channel and I don't want to, this is what does well. But I remember doing it back here and I felt good about it after. So sometimes it's just reworking your brain. Now, the last piece of advice, because this video is going to get really long and I just kind of want to do a little sit down chit chat with you guys. The last piece of advice I'm going to give you in being a better dancer is to look at yourself and not around you. Yes, it's good to get inspiration, but far too often dancers will look at somebody next to them in the room, or they'll look at other dancers that they look up to and say, oh, I wish I could be that, right? And if you're someone like that, focus on you, right? You are unique. You are beautiful. You are hardworking. You deserve to be there. You are special. You love what you do. And if you don't, what's making you not love dance? Is it the environment? Is it where you're at? Is it the teacher and you don't really work well together? Is it that you're not comfortable in your body? Is it that you're not comfortable with what you're wearing because it doesn't fit you? There's so many reasons as to why maybe you're not enjoying it. And sometimes people just don't like dance and people just don't like the things that they want to like. But you have to love it if you want to be professional and if you want to get better. So really looking at the relationship between you and dance and cultivating a positive relationship between you and dance will help so much, as well as you and your body, as well as you and your mind, and you and your soul. So on that note, let me know if these sit down chit chat videos are fun, helpful. I don't know if they're like too low production, if they're something that you're not interested in. Let me know regardless, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, happy dancing, and until next time, bye now.